to my channel. Today we are going to make a shutter card without needing the fancy die for it. Here's a couple of examples of what I did with this card. Hopefully you can find some inspiration from it. Well, let me turn this around here. I made a happy birthday card out of a few pieces of pattern paper that were in a matching set. And then the next one I made out of just white cardstock that I colored with some paint and cut out a few fall dies with. I thought this was super cute, one of my favorites. So without further ado, let's get started. Here are all the measurements you're going to need. I paused it for about 8 seconds so you can write this down. Otherwise, pause your video and you can write these down. So I'm just taking one 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I'm just going to measure 6¼ inches in for that biggest piece there so that I can cut on that line, because my paper trimmer doesn't measure past 5.5 inches, so I just used my large ruler for that. So I'm just going to speed through here, cutting up all of those pieces that you saw on that sheet with all the measurements. I've tried really hard to find a way to cut all of these out of one 8.5 by 11, but there just was no way. If you have a 12 by 12, you definitely could do it, but an 8.5 by 11, you need one more small scrap of paper to cut one or two of the pieces out. So I'm finishing up cutting the last of the pieces here, and here are all the pieces cut out that you're going to need. Now let's move on to the die cutting. You're going to need one 1 3/4 inch square die and one 2-inch circle. For the circle, I'm just going to center it where I want the window to be on my shutter and tape that in place. And then for the two rectangles, I'm going to line up the two short sides so they're flush with each other and just put this square die diagonally over the edges so that it cuts an arrow notch out of each end. And I'm going to run these through my die cutter. And here are the cut pieces. I'm just going to take this little piece out, and those the scraps you can save for future projects if you like. But save the circle from this one. I will use this on the belt that goes around the card at the end. So I just throw that aside. We're going to start scoring. So these two little arrows, we're going to score at 3/8 of an inch on both of them. And then I'm going to take the larger piece, and I'm also going to score the two long sides at 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm also going to score on the short side at 2 inches. Now before you fold this, you're going to want to take a scissor and a pencil and just I placed the window in the center and kind of measure where it's going to sit up on those tabs there so I know how far to cut. So I'm just going to cut on the score line all the way down to there and then at a little bit of an angle to make the little tab that the camera window is going to sit on. And I do this for both sides. This is the point where I would probably decorate your card however you want. It'd just be easier to do it before we start taping things together. So now I'm going to take my card and fold all the lines down so that to make sure that everything lines up before I start assembling my card. Once it's all done and you have it decorated the way you want, you're going to apply some double stick tape to all 4 of these tabs. So I'm going to quickly run through that. So now that I have that on, I'm going to take my window and just put it inside for now and kind of eye up where it's going to be. And I take a pencil and just make a mark at the top and bottom of your window. That way we can line up the shutter perfectly. So I'm just kind of lining this up so that both tabs are the same distance away, and then I make another mark on the very edge of the card by the crease. So now I'm going to peel off my adhesive and just line it up butt it up right to that crease and fold your card closed onto it, and I burnish it a little bit with a bone folder and then do the same. And this time I don't make a mark on the other side because I just kind of line it up with the other piece that's already attached. Butt it right up again and close it. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure everything's working and erase the pencil marks that I made so that I can color this later. Now I know it's off camera, I'm sorry. I'm folding up the tab at the bottom, pulling the adhesive off, and lining up my window, burnishing that in place. Now when you put this down, make sure you've got one on the bottom, one on the top so they're opposite each other. Peel off your top adhesive and line up the top of the window shutter. I'm burnishing that in place and our card is finished. Now let's make that belt. So I just took one of the scrap pieces from cutting this card out. It's a 1 inch by 8 inches is what you want. I'm going to cut that off. It just makes it easier to score and measure. And I'm going to score that at 2 inches on both ends. Now when I fold this and try it on the card, I realize it's not fitting very well. It's kind of tight. So what I'm going to do is score another line 1/8 of an inch away, so I'm doing 1 7/8 inch also. That way when I fold this, it kind of makes a little bit more space in there when you fold it. Okay, so don't worry about the little gap it creates here. We're going to cover that with the circle that we saved from our window. So I'm just going to use a little bit of roll-on adhesive, put it on both ends, and line this up with the back piece and cover it with the circle. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now you just hold it open, slide your card in, and there is your finished card. I hope you enjoyed this video. I always appreciate a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day.